This is it. 15th and final devlog. Quick reminder, the portfolio is already live and you can test it on brunosimon.com. In this devlog, I will explain the process of finishing such project, the final tweaks I did, the troubles I stumbled upon, the post-release updates, and stay to the end, I have a bunch of announcements. Before going live, I did a closed beta and sent the URL to some of my friends, Three.js students, fellow creative developers, and even family members without much knowledge about 3D for the web or video games. And I'm glad I did. They found so many bugs that I completely missed, but also made me realize some important features that were missing. One major criticism was that it was hard to know where to go, especially since most users don't even know what there is to do in this world. And I already knew the solution, but I didn't like it. I needed more interface. And the first interface that needed an update was the many modals. There was no other way to open them than to go to the corresponding area and interact with it. I needed to regroup them into one menu in which you can change from one section to another. A little bit of restructuring, some designing, a few icons, and a touch of responsive, and there you go. We can switch between the sections using the navigation buttons. We can always open the menu using the escape key. The menu remembers the last section so that it opens it back. But after pushing this update, I realized many beta testers didn't even know they could press escape to open the menu. My bad, gamer habit. Let's add a button. I also added a settings page. In there we can toggle some options, and I also displayed the server status and which Three.js backend is running between WebGPU and WebGL, which helped me when users complain about bugs and performance issues. Following the same process of helping the user navigate, I added a map. I really liked the idea of letting the user discover the world by himself and get lost in the various areas, but it was in opposition to what I believe about the web, which is that information needs to be accessible and fast. So I added a little button below the menu trigger, and there you go. Since the whole world is built in Blender, creating the map texture wasn't too complicated. I added a camera on top, some lights, foliage to the trees, and changed some materials to have color that resembled the final result, and pressed F12. And I obviously made a night version too. For the car, I rendered it from above in Blender, and drew the outline directly in Figma. For the locations, I listed them directly in JS and used the response to position them with some offset to have more control over the exact visual position. We can hover them to see the name of the area. Obviously, we can click to teleport there. Finally, I updated the kiosk by adding a map on it and changed the interactive point so that it opens the map. This way, new users are likely to do this first and have a glimpse of the world. On December 9, it was time to go live. I configured the VPS, changed the DNS, updated the SSL certificate, resetted the server database, and switched the GitHub repository to public, because yes, the front part of the portfolio is available under MIT license. I then posted on X, Blue Sky, Discord, LinkedIn, etc. And I waited to see if the server was going to hold. And yes, the server held, even though the lack of CDN made the website loading quite slow for some visitors, no big deal. But real troubles started when malicious people started to target my portfolio. Quick reminder, I have some multiplayer features like the whispers, the circuit leaderboard, cookies counter, and this. I already put some securities, but it was clearly not sufficient, and they started to mess with my portfolio, injecting scores on the leaderboard, bypassing interactions to inject thousands of cookies, and posting hate speech in the whispers. I had some work ahead, and I had to go fast so that they don't spoil the experience for the real users. First, I improved the server monitoring. I saved every user interaction with the server in log files using the Wisdom library. I also logged basic user interactions directly in the terminal. And I kept the terminal window open on my side screen all the time. I implemented soft and hard bans. Soft bans happen automatically when the user seems to be messing with the portfolio, like posting dozens of whispers in a short time. The user won't be able to interact with the server, but he can still access the website. Soft bans are temporary, and if the user doesn't mess around for a while, he will get access back. Hard bans are manually created. If I see someone looking for real troubles, like posting hate speech in the whispers, I use a firewall to completely ban the IP forever. The user won't even be able to access the portfolio without using a different IP address. For the circuit, I could not find any efficient solution. I did have a few ideas, but they implied cost or potential false positives. Anyway, the leaderboard is being resetted every day, so no big deal. I did have an anti-slur censorship for the whispers, but it was clearly not enough. So I turned to AI solutions, and what a blast when I discovered that the OpenAI moderation models are free. Courtesy of OpenAI, it seems. Every few minutes, I run the model on a batch of unmoderated whispers and soft ban any abuse. Two days after going live and after I made sure everything was stable, I submitted my portfolio on the various awards platforms like FWA, Awards with 3W, CSS Design, and Muesli. Those platforms showcase the best digital experiences. They provide visibility to studios, brands, and independents. It's a great source of inspiration and a good way to promote your work. The judging process varies between platforms, but it usually relies on juries to evaluate the project with various levels of distinctions and different categories. As an example, with awards, your website can win a Site of the Day, making it eligible for Site of the Month, making it eligible for Site of the Year. And now they even have categories named honors. In the end, it's just internet point. But I think submitting projects to those platforms is a good way to set goals, to compare to others, and to kickstart careers because yes, I've seen many independents enjoy a huge career boost after winning some rewards. So, what did I win? On awards, my portfolio won Site of the Day for January 21, Site of the Month for January, and unfortunately, I'm not eligible for Site of the Year 2025 since the Site of the Day was in January, well, maybe in 2026. I also won a Developer Award, even though the criteria are not really what I would expect from the term developer. And finally, a Portfolio Honor. Not sure what this is, but hey, more internet points, I guess. On FWA, my portfolio won FWA of the Day for December 13, FWA of the Month for December, and, drumroll, FWA of the Year, People Choice and Jury Choice for 2025. On CSS design, my portfolio won Website of the Day for December 18, Website of the Month for December, and no Website of the Year, sadly. Although it's now much more than this, Muesli is famous for its browser extension that displays a selection of projects when you open a new tab. And my portfolio won Staff Pick on December 9. So yeah, bunch of rewards. Thank you to everybody who voted and evaluated my portfolio. This kind of project is never really over. It's a matter of how much time you want to keep spending on it. Fortunately, I made sure to not rush anything and the code was clean, making it easier to get back to. So I added more features. First, I added the backlights to the car. I fixed some bugs like missing shadow on the confetti, the cookies, the water waves. Missing achievement durations, because yes, you can see how long it took you to complete all the achievements. Menu buttons visible on page load. Shadow map not updating according to the quality settings. I also implemented performance improvements that I mentioned in previous devlogs. I added the time machine area following requests to get access to the old portfolio. I kept Three.js up to date because these days Three.js is going through big changes following the web GPU support and TSL update, and I wanted to test those features and enjoy potential new performance improvements. And I do have some more updates I want to implement, but maybe later. With this final devlog, I can now say that the portfolio is officially done. What an adventure it was. I learned so much in so many fields: 3D design, Three.js with TSL, optimization, sound design, server security, and even video editing. If you've been following those devlogs, I want to thank you. I hope you enjoyed the adventure, learned a few things, and maybe got some inspiration. It's time for me to catch up with the many tasks I've put aside those past months. I need to do some more house renovation. I have a bunch of pet projects, mainly related to 3D printing, which I will probably share once it's done. I also miss doing small experiments, so maybe I will do one or two just for fun. Now for the real announcements. I mentioned this one already, but I'm working on a new Three.js journey chapter about TSL and WebGPU. It's going to be big and it's going to be fun. After that, I will also update the previous lessons to accommodate the last Three.js updates. Let's hope I won't have to redo too many lessons. Now for the big announcement. After the Three.js journey updates, I will create a brand new course teaching how to build a portfolio just like this one. I still need to figure out the scope and how to make such a project fit in a course, but I'm sure I will figure it out. And I have one more announcement, and a big one too. Three.js is big with a huge community, but for some reasons we don't have many events. Well, actually I know why we don't have meetups and events. We are all a bunch of introverts that prefer to stay at home. I know that, I'm one. Fortunately, David Ronet decided to step in and organize the first Three.js conference. It's happening in Paris, and I've seen the deck, it's going to be huge. The lineup is crazy, the activities are so cool, and it's happening very soon. But since it's still in the making, I'm not going to spoil too much, and I'd rather let David explain everything. So register on the website or follow David on X. I will be part of the lineup, no idea what I'm going to talk about yet, and Three.js Journey is also part of the sponsors, meaning that I will gift some seats, although I don't know how exactly. Maybe it could be a Three.js Journey challenge prize, I don't know. Anyway, I'm so happy it's happening. Check the website, follow David on X, stay tuned. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the series. If so, please subscribe and leave a like. Follow me on X or Blue Sky for more creative and coding stuff. Have fun on my portfolio and please don't break anything.